Hello, anyone who may possibly be watching this. First and foremost, I'm just going to adjust a couple things. This is for a school project. This is going to my teacher. They might be the only one who sees this, or I might put this on my YouTube channel because I have one of those and I like to edit and make videos, so why not? This video is to talk about my thoughts on the film Hot Fuzz. Hot Fuzz is directed by Edgar Wright. His style, I like his style a lot. We're going to talk about that. He is British, so it's British filmmaking. I'm an American, but I have enjoyed the pieces that I have seen that have been made by him. Okay, so first off, Hot Fuzz is this weird mix of buddy cop film, but also we learn very quickly murder mystery. So it has kind of these two films in one almost, where you have like this relationship between the main character and his co-partner, and also a murder mystery that we are trying to solve. All these people keep getting murdered. Spoilers, sorry. Our main character is a police officer. He's really, really, really good at his job. They show like a montage of him being really good at his job, like right in the beginning of the film. We are immediately moved into him sitting down in a meeting with his higher-ups, telling him that he needs to be relocated. He is currently like a London city police officer, but they want to bring him to some rural town, like out on the countryside, basically because he's too good at his job, which I think is completely crazy, but whatever. When he gets over there, the police force is not good. He's really takes his job very seriously. These people don't. His partner is not a very good cop, but aspires to be what our main character is. So they have to like work together, and they have a very interesting relationship and dynamic that, you know, develops throughout the course of the film, which I'll get into later. He's in this town, and a bunch of people start dying, and he's trying to figure out why, and he then realizes it's murder, and he's trying to solve it. He pins it on this one guy, but this one guy has an alibi and all this stuff. So I won't spoil too much, but that is the buddy cop murder mystery part of the film. But the other parts that I want to talk about was the editing style and the filmmaking style of Edgar Wright in general. So this, like I mentioned before, this is for a class assignment. Our topic this week was editing. So with being an editor myself, I put a heavy emphasis on paying attention to the editing, and I'm going to talk about that now. So there is a lot of montages and lots of fast cuts, very fast-paced, high-energy sound effects and music tracks, and really like very actiony, a lot of close-up shots, you know. Very, very cool, very, very cool. Very, very stylistic. And then the humor, it's also a comedy, and it's very dry, British humor, but I actually enjoy that a lot. So I really enjoyed the film. I enjoyed it from a humor perspective. Not the strongest story in terms of like writing, but in terms of the comedy, the actors, cinematography, and the editing, just a really, really strong film. There was kind of these two plots that were trying to converge, but I think they had a little bit of trouble making the two work because they're kind of different. Buddy cop film and murder mystery. Two very different things, honestly. There was a lot of references and parodying of famous pop culture references in movies, such as Bad Boys. For some reason, the movie Bad Boys, or Bad Boys 2 in particular, with Will Smith, was like a big part of like the third act of the film. Honestly, they foreshadow it in the first act, but then it comes full circle. There is some double meaning jokes that have a really nice payoff in the beginning of the film. Danny is his name. While they're on the job sitting in the police car, will be like, let's go to the store, or do you want anything from the store? And just like goes to the store a lot, gets food, whatever. Twice in the movie, before the third act, they go to the pub like twice, and they're like, hey, let's go to the pub. So there's this setup, there's this repeated setup. We use the rule of three, and we use the rule of set pattern, break pattern. So what I mean by that is that they go to the store, they go to the pub, it's, whatever. But in the third act, they not only break the pattern, but there is a really good payoff for the setup and the rule of three, because I believe it is the third time is when they go back to the pub and back to the store, but not to have a drink, not to buy food, but instead have a shoot off.
Danny, let's roll. What are you thinking? Pub?
With the owner of the store and the owners of the pub.
Want anything from the shop?
Because they are part of the secret society where they're having that really epic shoot-off with the town. And it's really awesome. I really enjoyed the third act, even if it was a little silly from a story perspective. But it was very cohesive with the whole style of his filmmaking and the writing and everything. I thought it was fantastic. In terms of the editing, there was a lot of things like mask wipe transitions. In case anyone is not familiar with that, you use 2 shots and then you use post-production magic, we'll call it, to create what's known as a mask, where you seamlessly transition from one scene to another. And it looks like it's done in camera, because usually you accompany that with camera movement, like a dolly right or left. But most of the work is in editing. I have done a few masks myself. So I wanted to talk about the montages. The montages were comedic and humorous in their own way. So in addition to being very action-packed and very cool, the subject matter of the montages were very different. Things like filling out paperwork, doing like headshot, like mugshot, like lineup photos of people he arrested. Things that seem very mundane and kind of boring and not action. Things that you wouldn't see in a montage. He turned into a montage and made it look really epic, with epic music and sound effects and fast cutting. And so I really, really enjoyed seeing things like that. There were a couple really good match cuts. I could talk about match cuts all day. As an editor, match cuts are my absolute favorite, and compositional match cuts or composition match cuts are my absolute favorite cut in the entire world. I love a good composition match cut. I think there was about 2 or 3 match cuts that I really, really liked. In the beginning, when he's first moving out of London and has to go to the countryside, he's sitting on a bench waiting for like a train, and they match cut from like day to night. That's I just love a good composition match cut. Not to spoil anything, but there's this cross story going on in the second act between the killer killing somebody and the bonding between our main character, the good policeman, his name is Angel, Sergeant Angel, and Danny, who is his partner, the kind of buddy cop thing. So Danny and Angel are bonding, and they're watching movies. They're watching Bad Boys, which is foreshadowing, and they keep cutting back to the killer killing someone, and there's a scene where the killer knocks the guy he's killing on the head, and that guy falls down, and they flawlessly transition it to a composition match cut of Angel sitting down on the couch to watch the movie with Danny. And it was just like a really creative way to jump back and forth across narratives there, and I thought that was really clever, very stylistic. Really enjoyed that a lot. I literally wrote in my notes, match cut from killer to cop, chef kiss. Pretty great. So this film really combines a great mix of action and comedy, and pretty good story. The really good character arc between our 2 main characters, not close at all, don't like each other in the beginning, at the end, spoiler, they're like best friends. Again, this is directed by Edgar Wright, and I really enjoy his sense of filmmaking, his cinematography, his editing, the snap zooms, the whip pans, the match cuts, the mask transitions, all that stuff. Love it, love it, love it. If you've seen Scott Pilgrim, I think it's a really good example. You would have seen these kind of things. It's a great film. I loved it. 10 out of 10 movie. Would definitely recommend to anyone. It's definitely the best film that I have seen in a while. And honestly, the best film that I've seen in all of 2024, if I'm being honest. This is not going to apply to many people, but out of all of the films I've watched in my film class that I'm making this video for, this is my favorite film that we have watched in this class. And the editing and the cinematography and everything, again, just very stylistic, very, very good, very, very fast, very high energy. I loved it. As an editor, as a guy who appreciates cinematography and likes to make videos and loves watching films and just loves the filmmaking side of things, really, really, really loved this movie. If you share any qualities like me, you'll probably enjoy this movie too. Less for the story and more for everything else that I talked about. So it's called Hot Fuzz, and I couldn't recommend it more. Please go watch Hot Fuzz. It's so good. I just had a lot of thoughts on it, and I really enjoyed it. And I'm really glad that my teacher, shout out to Dr. Everett, chose this film for the editing category. And this one's going to stick with me for a while. I think I want to buy it and watch it again and see what I missed. And I'm going to watch other works from Edgar Wright. He has other films, Shaun of the Dead, and another one that I want to see that I haven't seen before. And I think that's it. That's pretty much my thoughts on the film. This is my media piece for my film review of Hot Fuzz. Thank you.